Take our word for it, it's bad.
My name's Steve, I'm from Massive Peanuts.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel and episode 4 of the Ferrari 308 restoration. On this episode, we're going to tackle the door skins, have a look at rectifying the passenger side sill, and finish up where we started on the arches and rear vents sections as well. Right, if you remember from when we first started attacking the doors, that we held fire because we had some discrepancy in the sill that we need to address first. Well, we've gotten to deciding to attack the doors now. The driver's side, we're happy where the sill is, so I'm going to crack on and get the door skin sorted on that, and then I'll show you the process of how I do that. The more we look at the passenger side, the more nasties we actually uncover as well. So if you have a look at the sill from this kind of angle, the sill kind of is corkscrewed, very strange. It looks like one of those old 90s Max Power side skirts. So when we've done a bit more digging, we've had a look underneath, taken loads of measurements in reference to the other side, and the inner sill has been replaced, and been replaced very wrong. It's at the wrong angle, and it tapers off up to 20 mil from front to back. So that is what's causing the main issue of the sill to run out and be all shit like. So we have no choice but to pull the outer sill off on this side, rectify the inner sill first before we replace the outer sill, and then thus carry on with the doors. I'm not sure how well you can see from this angle. Just have a look at the sill in comparison to the bottom of the door. How it kind of corkscrews. It's so hard to capture, but I wonder if you can kind of see it. Take our word for it, it's bad. So, I can find seals, replacement seals, but they're over £1,000 a pop to get delivered here. They're not too difficult, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of templates to make sure we can shape the seal with our tools here, and then we should make them ourselves, because we'll be able to make a pair for less than £1,000. So that's going to be the plan of action here. Right, stay tuned, follow us. We're just hoping not to keep uncovering more work like this, because it was meant to be a quick take back to bare metal and paint, and this is spiraling, more than any of us wanted to. So yeah, hopefully this is the worst of the horrors that we're going to uncover, but we'll see.
Here we are on the right hand side of the Ferrari. As you can see, I've now got the other arch tacked in. So that's actually kept shape really nicely, and kept just the shape's just really nice. Hasn't warped any of that at all. Just going really nice and slow with the tacks. And just having lots of clecos and clamps, just holding everything in place, just to make sure absolutely nothing moves. So I'm currently in the process of fully welding the new outers on both sides. As you can see here, basically just running through and doing lots and lots of tacks, taking it really slowly, because we've got basically no way of getting behind this because of the inner arch that's in there, so we can't actually get behind and hammer and dolly, so we have to go really slow and make sure we get absolutely no movement in this. Otherwise, we'll have to cut it out and do it again, because there's no way of getting behind to move any of this material. So if you see on the other side, I've actually gone around and done that now. So this side is fully welded up. Again, just ran really slow. All the cleco holes filled in as well. So there we go, so just working on doing the second one now. Hi guys, so with both of the rear arches done now and having the inner arches repaired as well, I've test fitted up both of the plastic inner arches that sit in there. All fits up nicely, so all we've got left to do when it comes round to refitting at the end is to drill the holes to rivet the plastic arches back in. But besides that, we're pretty wrapped up on the arches for now. So while I've got to wait for fur tan and some primers to dry, we're actually going to have a look at the sills. So there's a lot of problems with these sills, but to keep it simple, wrong position and there's no curve, which I think Steve's mentioned before. So what I'm going to do is make a couple of strips out of this and then basically practice getting the correct shape of the sills. I've done some measurements here. After running those slices, or I've got the first one here of those slices, ran it through the roller to get the slight curve that's in this section. Used the bead roller to get the notch here, and the rest of it was just in the folder. So this is our funky little shape for the sill. As you can see, you should be able to see with the camera at least, where the curve is missing. So that fits up quite nicely. So yeah, that's our little sill test piece. Here we have the finished sill. So you get a nice. Let's see if I can get a shot of it here. So you've got all the shape in it here. So as you can see, we've got the door brace fitted in. Obviously, we're going to be cutting out some, structural sections of the car here. So we're going to be taking out both the outer and inner arch. Here we have the outer sills cut out. As you can see, the inside is actually not really horribly rusty or falling apart. It's just unfortunately not straight. Old outer sill was cut out, which this was the section that was attached to the quarter. As you can see, is some interesting methods. We are working on the sill repairs on the Ferrari. On the driver's side, we decided, basically looking at all of these sections, are pretty even. The measurements from the front to the back actually match up quite nicely, so we haven't had to cut all of the sill out this side. So we've just done the front and then made up, essentially basically very similar to the other side, but only a part section of it. Just the outer piece basically. So that sits on there nicely. So all we've got to do now is cut away some of this at the end. There's a weird mix of fiberglass and a capping plate. So we're just gonna rid of that and just do a nice metal box in at the end. It already looks so much better having just that little bit of curve in there. It just really flows along with the rest of the car better. So as you can see, this side is in place, basically ready to be tack welded. As we see, well, I've got pre-drilled holes in the top, so we have to plug weld this because there's no way of us being able to spot weld this because we just can't access the backside. But we are able to spot weld all along the bottom seam and along with at the front in here. Might be hard to see. Let me grab a torch. So what I've done is also made a capping plate here for the end of the sill. giving that a nice return edge so that we can spot weld the sill to the front. Had Kenzie did a great job basically ripping out all of the old sill, repaired a bunch of the edges here, coated all the repairs he's made in the Noval. So there you go, so you can see that this side has been all cleaned up. There was a little repair to make in the end here, but this side was actually in pretty good shape. Didn't really have to do too much to it. And there you can see the end panel I made. And there's the return edge for what we're going to spot weld to. Yeah, so this side is all basically ready. All of the pipes inside this side are good. This is the air conditioning this side. They're in pretty good shape, so we're not going to have to do anything with those. So they've just been tied back out the way, all ready for it to go together. So spot welds have been done, run across the bottom here and along the front up where that flange was in the back. Next, moving on to doing the plug welds. As you can see, I've got a bunch of screws in there. Those basically to pull the two pieces of metal together so that you don't get any separation when you're doing the plug weld, because otherwise if you didn't have those in there, then the panels would just simply push apart, and obviously we can't get anywhere to get regular sort of clamps or anything like that on there, so screws are the best chance we've got for now. There you go, as you can see, all of the plug welds have been done, all of the screw holes have been filled, lightly dressed back and DA'd. You can see we've got absolutely no warping in that, it stayed lovely and straight. The top edge there is nice and flat as well. We'll call that one a success.
So this door frame is hung and gapped exactly where it needs to be now. All the swage lines tie up nicely up the top half of the door. So now with the door gapped and hung properly, where we've done loads of repairs around the frame itself, I'm basically going around and measuring all these gaps and make sure basically they're nice and even all round. If they're not, just trim the edges of the door down and take a note if I've got to add a material or compensate for when I'm actually folding the skin round. So I've marked that up, so I'm going to take it off, linish the edges so they're nice and even, and then I can lay my skin on and basically start breaking the edge over and fit the skin. Simples, baby. Let's go. Right, so now with the door skin, the frame's all trimmed down to how I want it, and the door skin as we've pinned on the front with Cleco pins, and then I've used panel clamps on the face here, so the flat panel clamps, so they're good for clamping rather than C clamps and stuff like that, for clamping skin, so you don't end up with tiny little impressions in your repair panel. So now I've done that, I can blue up these edges and scribe where I want my tip line to be for folding over the door skins. One other thing I'm doing before I commit to tipping the edges over is rechecking my profiles. So this is the profile of the front curve of the front wing where the door meets it, and that curve stays consistent all the way down the side of the car. So I've already rechecked my contour this way, so it's got a bit of a compound curve in the door, so just a tiny bit that way. So I've checked that, that's good. Just rechecking this as well. Yeah, it's pretty bob on. Yeah, it's not too bad. I've got a slight low spot here, so that should be a case of I'll just manipulate that a tiny bit before I tip the edges. It's not the end of the world. At the bottom, I'm not using a hard wheel. On the bottom, we're using a nylon skateboard wheel. The reason for using nylon is because that's going to be on the face of my skin. So I don't want, if I had the hard dye in there, it would leave too much of an impression on the front of the skin. So I don't really want to do that because it's not something you can dress out easily afterwards. Come here, you bastard. Right, there we go. See the edges tip there? That's all I need to do. So the rest I can dress over by hand. It's just to get that sharp knife edge cut line in there. So that's good enough. I'll finish the rest off with a hammer and dolly. So I'm just making sure when I dress over these edges by hand that I've got, you know, a nice soft surface, soft but like kind of firm surface for my pan to go on, so I don't mar the face of it. Use my knife edge dolly and my big Jador clumpy hammer. Just gonna get a bit of weight behind it because I want to be striking it quite hard but firm, holding that down firm with that right in the corner, so I keep the edges nice and crisp. Now for the door steering, I am ready to tip the edges over. So I'm going to start with the sides Make sure it's all clamped on really nicely and work my way down as I go. What I want to do is keep a flat dolly pressed hard on the face of the skin. Wants to be flat, and you want to keep a lot of pressure on there, because otherwise you'll end up with hammering it and ripple in the face. So you need that flat pressure constantly applied on the face there. And basically you just need to do one pass going down and keep going down. Don't hit all over the bloody place like a maniac. Just work your way down, go over in a few passes, do the sides and then the bottom, nice and easy. There's Nathan!
Hi.
So I finished welding up the door skin now. I've taken my time through the day, just doing small runs at a time just to create as little distortion as possible. It's all just roughly dressed back at the moment. Yep. So I'm at the point now I want to hang it. Shut up.
I'll be 2 seconds. I'm just
2 seconds? I've not got 2 seconds. We're making YouTube gold here. Right, me and Johnny are getting all cozy in this corner. Anyway, as you can see, the skin is welded on now, and I have rehung the door finally. Only just roughly gaps up for the moment. Just want to check all the consistency down all the gaps and everything like that. The back gap is really nice. Bottom is really nice. Front edge, not as nice. So what I'm going to do, I was just going to see if we can catch this here. So, yeah, where I in the frame had so many repairs, getting this consistent fold over was going to be very difficult anyways. So I'm just going to build up a little bit on the edge of the weld there, dress it back. I've still yet to planish it, so you can see it has got slight distortion along the weld, but not much. It's not transferred into the panel or the suasion line above, so which is really good. I've kept that really nice and controlled just to along the weld, so that'd be easy enough to planish out and get nice and straight. We've rehung the door again just to make sure the gap stays nice and consistent with the new seal in place. So now Johnny has confirmed that we've ripped the door off and I can finish dressing it. So before I just basically just took the tops off the welds. Right, so the Daikon Blue, run over basically like a guide coat, so now I can feel highs and lows in it, but when you can visually see it, just make it a lot easier. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just run a flat block over this, which will, if there's a high, then obviously it will sand it back to bare metal. If there's a low, then the blue will stay in the wallow and highlight it. Right, that's about half an hour in so far. I've made my way about a third of the way along the door, so it kind of gives you a bit of an insight into how much time goes into panel beating. Also, it's fucking tiring as well. So once I've gone across the whole of the door, be another 30-40 minutes, then I'll re-blue it, block it back down, just see if there's any like major highs that I need to get to the bottom of, and then that's job done. Quickly DA it off, result. So what I'm doing when I'm tapping off dolly to push the material in, I'm putting some leverage on the low next to it. So pushing up on the low, tapping down on the high, and basically I should level it out. It's coming on quite nicely.
My name's Steve, I'm Massive Peanuts.
done to a standard I'm happy with. It's been finished off 180 on the DA. When it goes in the body shop, they do it 240. It's very important at this stage that we get the guys from the body shop over just to cast their hands over it, because they have a different way of feeling engaging bodywork to us metal workers. So if you're a metal worker, it's always very, very helpful to work closely with a body shop. So Rob's already come through, run his hand over it, told me that I'm a useless pile of crap and my work shit. So in my eyes, that's fucking good to go, and that's now a him problem. So this door is hung and gapped and completely finished now. So with this sill finished and completely welded in now, you can see how nicely it lines with the contour of the door and goes down as it should now. All been spot welded on nicely on the bottom. We've got to put a couple more drain holes in, but we did find that on the bottom of the quarters as well. Not so much rust problems, but more just they were so out of shape, and the actual bottom return edge there differed in size like all the way along. It was like a bit of spaghetti really. It's just a case of cutting out the kind of bottom 3-4 inches of the quarter panel and just manufacturing a new kind of bottom piece and return edge and rectifying that. So that's what we're going to do next. So then the doors, the sills, bottom of the quarters and the arch will be completely finished. So back onto the passenger side of the car now. You'll remember that Johnny actually manufactured the seal in one piece, but when we were doing the other side, we realised that it was actually made in 2 sections. So this bottom section lips over the top of that there and is spot welded together. So, well, we thought we'd do this one the same. So we ended up cutting it, redoing this top piece. The lines were a little bit off, so it kind of gave us the benefit of redoing that top piece, which was a few minutes work, nice and easy. And then we're going to do it so both sides are exactly the same. So whether that is how they're from factory or they're all made in one piece of production, we do not know. But this is going to be, it's going to be pretty as good or better than factory. So that's all done. It's got the weld through bodywork prime on there now. The top piece is in. What we're doing is we're waiting for we're going to remake the inner sill now. So we're going to be making, that's going to be out of some thicker steel, so that's 1.5 we're going to make that out of. So once that's in, that's all prepped and coated. We've also got to replace these pipes as well. So one's a coolant hose and the other is the vacuum hose for the brake servo. So the reason we're replacing these is because this one was split anyways and had tape wrapped all around it, and this one's just slightly old and fatigued. So while all this is out, it's just prime time just to get that replaced, so you don't have to worry about it ever again. What have you found, Johnny? Oh wow. What's that? Is that all like resin?
This is all the resin of the inner arch. This is steel.
Yeah. But it's all rusted down the bottom here. We found a lot of rust into the outrigger, which needs to be rectified, but also it was covered in resin and this panel was hiding a lot. We thought it was metal, but yeah, it turns out it is plastic. So what's the verdict then, Johnny?
Resin. Lots and lots of resin. As you can see here. Just delightful, really.
And we now have a big chasm in front of us here.
With a pretty rotty looking inner wing. There's not really much of it left.
No. So we feel that this panel here, which was plastic, same as the other side, is meant to be a steel enclosing panel for the wing, because there's remnants of it on the inside of the wing which has rusted away. So we're kind of thinking that the wings have got to come off altogether now, haven't they?
Yep.
This is the view from inside the wing. See, there's a bit of the old panel there, which is meant to come up to the post itself. Yeah, this is going to need repairing. This is going to need repairing. This is going to want replacing. That's attached to nothing. Yes, not what we wanted to find, put it that way. And I only imagine it's a similar story for the other side, so we need to investigate that as well now.